And away we go, people. Another great day here. And where is here? South Australia. What is going on in South Australia? I am not sure. I woke up today with this energy that, oh my God, I just can't get going. And it's like, I feel something has changed. I don't feel my energy is like with me, but it's not about me. There's some personal aspects of that energy cord, but then I get on and I see that the numbers on my page went from, I'd lost 5 people as fans. I'm like, okay, no big deal, but why does it need to stick out like a sore thumb? When you're in the academy, you'll start learning, or in the tribe, you'll start learning about glossary words. And then I see somebody that had an account that was doing videos. All of a sudden, Facebook kicked them out, locked their account, took their account away. And I'm like, wait, what? And then there's all of, I could feel, and then this morning, it's all conspiracy theories on the TV set. And I'm like, what? What's going on here? And just one little thing after another. And I feel like we're in a really bumpy hiccup or bumpy ride down a dirt road on this transition we're in, because it's just, nothing is like making sense. And part of me is like, did I wake up in the wrong universe? What's going on here? Because we have, and then spirit is like, we're dragging ass. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I still got my walking though. I was impressed with that. I actually combed my hair. That's good. But it was just like, I skipped breakfast. I did things that were out of routine, and then Zoom. Oh my gosh, Zoom. And everything was Zoom. It's not going to connect. It seemed like it was connecting backwards. It was just weird. Wouldn't let me have my volume. It's like, hello, is this thing on? And nothing. It's about being present to some degree. So sometimes when you're doing things, when you learn what is it that you want to be? What do you want to be? So Spirit says you're going to learn to be an interviewer. So you're going to find out what you're going to like and what you don't like, what you're going to do and not do. Well, I will tell you, one of my standards is that I don't believe in fluffing stuff. If you're going to pay me, you're going to get my expertise and my experience, not something I think I can do. And then just, I understand creating the top of the hat. I've done that. That's how Spirit does it to me. Isn't that right, Amy? Just throw her in the academy and say, go. But
yep,
they don't they don't give you fluff and stuff, though. They give you meat and potatoes and the gravy and the side of corned beef and everything else, and you veggies and this and that, and you get a whole buffet.
God,
What's that?
I said, oh my God, yes.
And so, and it's like, wait, what is going on? And so I was talking to Amy, and then I was talking to my husband, and I just felt like it was not in my body. I feel like my minerals in my body are different. Like my bees all of a sudden got zapped, and like, where did all my bees go? And then this morning, the topic was my gallbladder in my mind. And it's like, oh, I have nothing in my tank. That's gallbladder. I don't give a crap. I don't want to do it. Gallbladder. And it was going on about how it's like, fine, I'm not going to even make breakfast today. Oh, gallbladder. And I'm like, oh my God, all these thoughts and these decisions are from the meridian of the gallbladder. Gallbladder. And I'm like, okay, do you have any other word besides gallbladder? Gallbladder. And I'm like, okay, so I really think they want me to look at gallbladder. And then all of a sudden everything switched. Still felt the shit, but I got up and I'm on the treadmill. Now all of a sudden today, even though I'm feeling this way, I don't think the gallbladder influenced me, because the gallbladder has this thing about making decisions. And most people know what indecisive means. And I think it's just a skill. It's not. Your gallbladder has a lot to do with whether or not you're going to participate in your life. And we have trained ourselves in such a way to reject reality. And so a lot of my peeps in the academy have watched Fringe, and they're season 3, episode 3. And I think I know it's season 3. It could be episode 2 or 3. And it's about the predictability. And this autistic child he's an adult, They give him this doses of medicine, which makes him be able to think and excel beyond reason and lose who he is. All emotion disappears and it's just all logical, that he just is like probability. So he took a pen and made such a chain reaction. So if I put this here, I want to kill this person here. How do I do it? And so he just did that. It followed, it rolled. Oh, this person looked at that. Oh, bumped into that. Oh, causes this a connection here. And it's just one chain event, like the butterfly effect, constantly all over. And then one person would die, but it was happening more than once. And when you calculate, you can, hey, you can actually pinpoint it to beyond. And this is kind of like what the RTJP does, is it sits there and tries to think what other people think. And it tries to calculate. And if you are in maneuvers and you're trying to control and you're trying to figure it all out, you are going to lose that particular empathy from the heart. If you are in gallbladder meridian, you're going to constantly think to the point you'll be in such high beta. Now, understand, high beta is, you have beta, this is what we're doing, and then you go all the way to sleep, that's delta, and then you got theta, and then you got alpha, and then you got beta, and then you got the extremes of how do you consciously interact. Right now, it's just a normal conscious interaction. I'm with Amy, I'm present, I'm communicating. And a lot of times, but if I'm really trying to calculate with that RTJP and I'm really sitting there, it separates not only from source, but it separates from the heart source. And it really causes you, God, I hate when Amy looks like me, looks like that. And just, you go and you start to really let the outside get to you, that you will take everyday things and blame it. Ah! And is it really the truth? The gallbladder will say, I cannot believe this. I'm galled, this, it's that, and just goes on and on and on and on. And that's high beta. That's going to the extreme. And then you have all these other ways of being. Okay, your mom's here. You forgot to put lipstick on. Oh, Jesus. Now she's my makeup artist. Please, no. I'm afraid to find out. She's like in the 70s or 80s. I got over that era.
She lived until 2013, so she is in this century.
Okay. Whew. Okay. Anyway. Gallbladder. And if you don't understand, you have an imagination side so that you can learn how to create. And then you have a left side. Okay. And you're in this, when I'm talking about memories on the left side, and when you're looking with one of your senses, and the right is imagination. And then you have the left brain and the right brain, and the left brain is about, here's my past, here's my future, and it's always about no, fear, blah blah blah. And then the right brain is this, oh, look at all of these possibilities and the quantum aspects and joy, and I get it. And but can you bridge these two so that you can take that logic from the left brain and the right brain that brings in the spiritual aspect, I guess, be the lack of the better word, and to be able to bridge them together so that there is a unity and integration. So there's tons of scenarios I can do, but here I am on my treadmill, and for the first time, all of a sudden I'm running, because I'm like, oh my God, I have no time. So I thought, okay, so I, and that's the button to make it go faster. And all of a sudden I was running on the treadmill. Oh, I'm doing it. So of course, now I'm thinking to myself, look at me. I just achieved something that I didn't even think I could, but I got myself out of the way. So I took the logical part out of the way, and I had something that was in my mind, and now all of a sudden it happens in real life. Meaning, in my left brain, I give an excuse and the reasons why I can't run, and some of them are very legitimate. And then there's the right brain where I was constructing, and in my imagination of my right eye, I'm constructing that I'm running effortlessly. Okay. because you have to see yourself do it before you do it. And all of a sudden, I didn't even realize this. I've probably been thinking about it for a month. Nothing intently focused with attention. It is, oh, I thought about it, imagined it, got lost in a thought, 41 thoughts per minute. I don't know how long I maybe went, I didn't do intention with a total focus of attention. And it's like, whoa, look at me. And how do you give yourself accolades without sounding like an egotistical butthead, without any of that? So there's all these fine little lines. So now I'm listening and I could feel this wave. And I thought, God, I don't get this. I don't get this. And what I heard on TV is that this beautiful part, the state in a country that I love, where all the wildlife is preserved, is now, oh, we want the oil, we want the gold, we want the copper. We're going to rape her. What? Now, my body starts to go nuts, and it hit me. We have yin and yang. Now, the yin, inside the yin and yang, you'll find yin and yang. So there is this marriage, but we have separated them, disconnect the source so we can't really bridge it back together. So we can see why there's an importance to be integrated. Why is the yin important with the yang and vice versa? And this has always been confusing in trying to teach it metaphysically to certain people. So let's look at it this way. If I'm always pushing a knot, I'm either pushing out a yin or a yang. I want to be, and so let's say I want to be spiritual. So let's say I want to be yin. And yelling is a yang, aggressive, forceful, assertive. So now I need something done. I have to be a mother. I have to be in charge, be a leader. And I threw out all of that knot instead of taking the gems out of it. That is a glossary word. I didn't take the gems out of it. So now I'm like, why is life shitting on me? Why can't I get ahead in life? I don't understand this. I'm a good person. So in healing, you have to go back to the knots and you have to go back and get the gems out. It's okay to say, I don't want to be a bitch and be a bully and all of this other stuff. But you need that assertiveness, the gems, the good that's within that knot, in the thing you don't want. And you can't learn it unless you find out what it's not. So that means you have to first experience the hell of it. And then you have to get the wisdom from it. And then you can choose how to grow and integrate from there. And as I'm standing on the treadmill, I'm realizing that this is what we've done. We've separated yin and yang, and we did not appreciate and learn the positive and the negative, or the light or the shadow within each of those, because you can't see one without the other. Being that said, paradigms of histories have been, okay, we don't like those kinds. So you have a committee of usually men, I'm not trying to bash, usually aggressive energy, and they will come up with a plan, which is actually yin, and those are air castles. And they brought the yin information in, but they put their twist on it through a negative aspect of how they're going to get this end result. Now, a whole point of this end result is that you want to change somebody's behavior. You want what you want. How do you get it? And sometimes if you can't get it outright, like when children throw a tantrum, then you have to use maneuvers to get what you want. Soap operas. Good Lord. Okay, so now we've learned all these paradigms. And so I was watching Annie with an E months ago, And she's walking to school, and then she gets there and the school's burnt down. Now, what? And they had bought a printing press, and the children were learning to have a voice, especially the women. And the children had a voice and was giving voice to the Native American community, giving voice to Black women in the community, even just so you could see how she's like, oh, she came out, she would talk to these people and saw them with love first, took notes, shared that. She thought that was great information, so we can all learn to bond and grow. And the printing press that they did at school was how she was taking her stories, putting them in and handing them out in town. This is way pre-internet. If you know who Annie and the E is, that's way back when. So she goes walking to school, and the printing press, is gone. The school burnt down, and it should still be standing. Previously, you see where these old codgers get together and overforce the one woman that was on the committee. She's like, don't worry, I'm on the committee. I can't let these things happen. Well, she walks in, and she's going to say something, and they're like, your voice don't matter. You're just here because you have to be. And they just bowled her over with their yang energy. And she tried to do her yang energy, but they quickly snuffed her out. Not physically killed her, but made her quiet. That's kind of like what the gallbladder does. It's just like, you just make a certain decision and then you sit in. And so if you can't change out here, then your thoughts go inside. You want to know what anxiety and depression is? Is when the yang energy, you can't change it. That's the aggressive, that's assertive, that's getting out there and changing it or creating it. So you have a point of creation and a point of destruction. But if the outside is saying to you that you can't, and we're in charge. So now you have lofty energy. And this lofty energy is now using its aggressiveness. So you're going to take the aggressive energy that you couldn't give to them and turn it inward toward yourself. And then you get really self-loathing, nasty ass thinking, I'm worthless, all of this. So now you are using yin and yang in a very negative state, in a very unhealthy way inside of you. Okay, you follow me so far? Hopefully you are. Now, so what you have, going back to Annie with the E, was that the woman said it so perfectly. She says, and I think it was Annie that said it herself. No, it could have been the other one. She goes, this yang energy will come in, destroy a point of destruction, and they will do a point of creation to what they want, and then they will deny. Life goes on, and they get away with it. Old paradigm. We have seen this. We're trying to figure out how to duplicate it in a good way. We're trying to protest. We're trying to figure out how to do it in a good way, better than what was there. We're all trying to do something. I was growing my business years ago, and almost every authoritarian, from a lawyer to a doctor, were telling me, do it and apologize later. I'm like, what? Do it and apologize later. I'm like, huh. And that's the flow energy of business. Then I said, you need to give me an example, Spirit. Okay, I wanted to buy this property with this building on it. They were asking $45,000. And Spirit says, go talk to so-and-so. So I did. He says, oh, no. He says, you don't ever pay the full thing. It's just part of the bargaining. Just like when you want to go to certain markets, they expect you to barter. I'm like, but I don't like that. I put a price on it, And It's just another way of thinking. So the guy I talked to ended up talking to another guy, came back, find out that they only paid $15,000 for it. If you offer just like $10,000 more, they'll take it. I said, what? Now I had not two dimes rubbed together. And Spirit says, just say it. I'm like, I'm nervous. I'm not a broker. I'm not, what? And I'm not a liar. And I had to learn what it meant to negotiate, to communicate, to bargain, and it's like, what? I'm going to tell you, it was a toughie. So all of a sudden, the phone rang. And I knew, oh my God, I went in extreme anxiety and I just had to call in Spirit to do the talking. And he says, hey, blah, blah, blah. And I says, well, you know what? All I have is 25,000 or 20,000 in cash. I cannot come up with the 45,000 that you're asking for. So you'll have to take me out of the running. And I said, well, I thank you, for communicating with me and all this. And before I went to hang up, he says, wait. And I said, what? He says, if you can come up with 23,000, I'll let you have it. Now I'm like, I'm freaking lying. I just negotiated and won to some degree. And how am I even, and I said, oh, okay, we'll look into it. I'm not sure if I can even do that, but yeah, okay, and I put the phone down. I'm like, should I negotiate it back down? I don't even understand how this goes. And then I was just in my head because I was lying. I went over to my mother-in-law. I'm like, Mom, I says, I can't figure out why I just, so I'm being aggressive in my own head. That yin, I took that yin and now I became yang and I'm being aggressive in my head. And my mom calms me down. She says, no. She says that, she reinforces me that this is business. She goes, well, let's see what we can come up with. I says, I don't know nothing. And I says, and she goes, well, you have to go over and get over with the fact that you lied. And it's not about lying. Understand, it's business. I'm like, and she goes, but you won. I says, yeah, but won what? I'm not even sure why I went down this road. And so, a few hours later, the next thing I know, I have money in my hand and I got the building. And I'm like, what? Spirit thought I needed it. I'm just like, okay. It's the growth process and everything's unfolding. Here we are going through eons of time that if you understand, it's about territorial issues. We're coming to a particular territorial issues. I could never understand why Spirit would make me have territorial issues. Everybody took everything from me, but I didn't give a crap because it's like, I'm done playing this game, which is the gallbladder. I lost my gallbladder. I can't physically, which is one of the 4 ingredients, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And I'm working on the physical. So I've done really well on the spiritual, mental, emotional. I built the quotient up, but physical, I'm like, there's always a battle. My weight, my energy in the world, like me trying to get my phone to work. I couldn't get my electricity working. I'm like, seriously, this is supposed to be a touch screen, a little hair trigger. No, I'm beating the fuck out of it and I can't even get it to turn on. And it's like, all right, take my energy, make some friction. And after a few minutes, it's like, now my electricity's flowing again. I drank some water. I had to fix my electrical magnetic body, and then I could make certain devices work. So physical, it has what I've been focusing on in this particular lifetime. Being that said, the yin and yang, we're coming to unity. The yin and yang, there is territorial. In my last marriage, I broke out in hives because one of the arguments was I just wanted him to help me out. I was so stressed. And in his belief, I don't have to help you raise the kids. I don't have to help you do anything. I'm like, what are you talking about? I thought we agreed we wanted children. Yeah, we did. But there was a division. do as I say, not as I do, only do what I say, because I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And I'm like, where did you even come from? And so it just got to the point where it was too much. And one time, I don't even remember exactly what it was, but all of a sudden, I knew that there was a hopelessness, which is the spleen, that it doesn't matter how much yin energy to come through that I have, to use it in a yang sense to communicate with somebody that's a brick wall. That I could feel it was territorial, and therefore I sat down. I went in complete shock because he said something. I was done, which was gallbladder, and then it took a few days to get my body to come back into alignment, and then years later, okay, this is about ready when I'm about ready to leave. It's my second time before I left. That when I'm in class teaching, and he was sitting in the room, and this is his one shot to keep going with me. And then the mother said something. There was a woman over here said, not his mother, but a woman said something. And then the daughter goes, "Oh, territorial issues." Bam! I went right, it hit. And and all of a sudden I went head to toe hives again. And it wasn't as shocking, but my body goes, "Do you remember? Do you remember?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, what?" So when you begin to heal, you're healing out your shit. Then you start to heal out an epigenetic shit. And then you get to heal out your soul shit. You can work on all of them, but to really change who you are on a soul level is usually worked down into these layers. And your soul always knows what it wants to work on. And it is breaking from some of these paradigms. It is giving you the enlightenment. And yin and yang are a point of creation and a point of destruction. These are the two things that sit there. So yin will do air castles in the sky. That's in thought, brought it through inventional things. As you start to bring it through, you start to use yang. So yin to yang. And so you've got a point of creation, okay? Before it can be physical, then it has to be from yang, because it's physical, to yin, or sorry, it's physical, of course. Yang will take that information in, and then it's doing a point of destruction because it's got to change things and in an alchemy sense of way to do a point of creation. So point of destruction and point of creation are always happening, but we've divided them up. That's death. That's this. Oh my God. But everybody wants joy and happiness. Everybody wants to move. Everybody wants to. But you can't grow and develop if all you're going to do is divide. Dividing, that's all we've ever done is divide. So unity has to be that yin creates and brings it, and yang takes it and creates it. So here's an interesting part about yin and yang. The word take it, okay? The reason the division started to come up was most people won't receive. Do you get this? Yin creates it, sends it, but if you don't receive, which is yang, okay, which is a yin yang thing. So this is where it gets complicated. Remember how I told you, you're like, I want to be spiritual, but I am not going to be that. You have to get yourself into a very particular understanding. So men aren't going to take it. If you were to take and use a physical body part of vajayjays and penises, men are not going to take that lying down. Men are not, so, but here's the thing, how can they take in new information if they're fighting? Women are done taking it. Okay? So we've been doing nothing but division. So we have to go in and heal the health around receiving and forcing and giving, and the giving and receiving process. We have got to take out all of that nasty ass shit and get the gems, get the wisdom, so we can get back into harmony and start to appreciate and love. So when we start to do something, we don't have to remove the heart just to get the end result. We don't have to sit there and go, how am I going to change Amy's behavior so it'll be what I want? But without her knowing, most people think that way, but I don't know if they understand that they think that way. It is part of a program. Okay, it's part of the paradigm. So it's very important to begin to understand a little bit more in depth of the yin and yang, why healing is so important. And all I could think of when I was thinking of that piece of land that has such beauty of animals, wildlife, beautiful trees, rocks, water, beautiful land that's healthy and working together in harmony, going to be raped, going to be, just because it's like, because I want it. It's not a have to. Mother Nature always gives. Why can't she just give without being taken? Why is it we've lost the process of asking and then receive. And then when you receive, you say thank you. We've lost that process. We've already done now. We're done. We've explored the depths of perception of yin and yang, and we're now going to begin to wake up to understand it deeper. And it's the same thing with the energies in the physical body. And you either got access, deficiency. I'm going to give, or I'm going to withhold. I'm going to be the rebel and fight back, or I can be the bully and force. So this is what's constantly going in the body, and your inner world will always start to show on the outside of the people. People will normally show you, or government, or something will always show you the reflection of your inner world. But remember, this is abstract. It means you don't have to keep picking the same shit different day. It is waking up from your program, understanding that your subjective reality of how you interpret things and make it so, and that your thinking makes from air castles to real castles. It is to take the beliefs, the acceptance. See, you accepted, you believed, you gave your willpower, and therefore you've got nothing left to create with. You need to stop pushing out, and you need to take the wisdom in, and you need to learn to stand in the cause and the effect. And how is it you want to participate in this world? Right now, most people run around and just be so aggressive on the inside, and it creates such an anxiety. We don't want to tip that off. So in the movie, or in the Fringe show, here is the girl trying to take care of her older brother. And he says, no, I already know your pattern. He says, you may threaten me. He says, but you will always choose to avoid a confrontation. So I won, and just walks away. How many of you chose to take the high road and say, okay, I'm just going to walk away. I'm done. Or you're trying to help, and yet patterns, wake up to patterns, take your energy off the patterns, heal your shit. One of the things is these beautiful women, these beautiful people, they're in the tribe. They're like, oh my God, I just can't stop. This simple little tool, the OMG, can, if you just to do it, it can start making a major difference. Now, there may be other things that we need to do. This is why we have a whole bunch of other tools that can make a difference. Okay. Now, the first part, we normally chat. And that's what we've done. Second part is, if anybody's paid, then we do those, because it's not called an expedited. We will begin the free reads, but we have one up for grabs. And so you're going to type in Y6 if you want a chance to win this free reading. And then Deborah did a pay it forward. And so we are going to also choose a person to win the getting into the tribal. And because you be coming in in the middle of August or right at the end of August, you get the rest of August and all of September. So we thank
Yay.
Deborah. Yeah, yay. We thank Deborah for this pay it forward because it was two gifts that's, helps. She feels good that she's given. It helps me. So I know I've received and it helps two other people. So what a beautiful chain of reaction. And then who knows how much more love can get spread. So Amy will see the Y6s and put your name in the thing. And Amy, have we got the names of the people that were on that said yes to the?
Yes, they are
in a hope chest. Okay, so now we're going to end up picking a name, and then for the what do you call it? The tribe, and we'll see what's from there. Anytime you pay, your name goes into the Hope Chest, so you can win a 15-minute free read at the beginning of the month. There is, what else is there? I guess I'm collecting people to some degree about their skills. People say, well, I want to talk to the dead. I talk to the dead. I just don't let you know because if I had to tell it every 2 seconds, it would just get one boring of a show. Where do I get my information from? Over here are all your loved ones. I can have one representative stand forward. Usually I can call not just those that are in this life, but I will see your past life guides or people, friends, whatever. They are non-fleshies, but they are still real. They just don't have a physical body. They're not earthbound. They're here. To my right are all of your guides to some degree that are separate from the loved ones. Your loved ones can be guides. Okay. What I've learned. You got archangels and other, goddess energy, and a lot of times they'll leave their post-it signs so I can see them. Then you have animals galore. So in order to not drive me crazy, everything is set up so that I have like a microphone so I don't get bombarded. I don't want the yelling out of names and all of this because it gets too loud. So I devised a system so that I can do my job without burning out my nerves. Now, there is a different way of delivering it. Now, when they know that they come through me with my knowledge and my educational background, what do? Heal that person, heal that person. Oh my God, help them grow. We want them to evolve. Yes. Whereas sometimes people say, I just want to talk to a loved one. They're not talking about, hey, show me my shit. So I have to have a conversation with them. They don't want to know about their shit. They just want to hang out. And there's always this protocol that they love you. They're not the same people that come through. They can show their personality if necessary. Okay, but I wasn't trained in all that area to listen to your loved ones to do this. That's what makes it unique. But at the same time, I can do this. Now, one of the ladies found out that, what was it? She found more information. I think it was Tootie, because I said something about Tootsie and the Jimmy Durante, the dancing, whatever it was. I said something about that. And then she started looking for information and it started to ring true to her. So sometimes they will give you information that in the moment. Now, when you're reading with the dead and you give out information, you as the receiver get dumb. You're like, wait, what? And I've had this happen to me, so I know the feeling. You can't make the connection. Well, because it's always really fast energy, that's just why you write it down. And then you come back and you realize, oh my God, I started making the connections. So they like to give you interesting things to address and look. But most people said, well, can't tell me what color of underwear I'm wearing right now. Or give me this piece of information, or where is it I hid the letter, or what did I say in the letter? I don't do that type of work. Sometimes people's expectations are so focused, and so this is where you can have other helpers, other readers, other things like this. So the 15-minute read is not private. It is here. And you can be just like this, where I'm looking at you, or I can hide you and you can just have your voice. So you can get your money's or your free gift worth, the value, depending on how you want to receive the value. Thank you, LaRonda.
Kelly asked for you to mention about the academy.
Yes, it's very important. I'm collecting names at this point because if there's not enough people, I won't do it. But if you want to be in the academy, now somebody asked me, are you a teacher? Yes. What is the academy? The first part of the academy, from my understanding, is we're going to teach you how to wake. As the academy grows, and because all the classes are in here, and it's slowly to bring forth the new light language information that comes with where you're going to be at, because we're in the middle of a transition. So the awakening process, people are like, well, I'm awake. Amy, and it's all about experiences. Mm-hmm. Amy swore she was awake. I said, Amy, you want to join the class? What's it about? Awakening. Oh, okay. Bob, we'll see what you can teach me because I already know everything type feeling. It's like something you don't know, you need to know. But she's like, oh, this is exciting. I get to meet people. What happened, Amy?
I found out that I was not awake at all.
Ooh, how do you know that?
Because I thought I was, but now knowing what I know that I didn't know then,
now you can see it. So information came to you and you're like, oh, I never thought of that. And then all of a sudden you start to look at it and you're like, oh shit, my life that I thought was perfect was actually hell. Uh-huh. Oh, and how I was answered and how I was putting up with every single day. I stayed asleep. But now that I'm awake, I don't like this, but it's the same thing. Tools. Recovery time, more joy. Why is this same shit happening? Let's heal this. Let's wake you up, see where your knots are. And all of a sudden she's like, oh my God, I got to be responsible for this shit because it is my life. So then she starts healing the emotion that causes it being tied to the thoughts that made her agree that this is where she had to believe and that she had to do this with guilt and shame. And then she started healing these around, turn around time. Now she's like, I own my power. I have my voice. I'm doing better. Yeah, I got a long ways to go, but I feel so much better. I'm not going back to that. Do not make me go back to that. And I'm like, no, you've developed this far. And you can do it quickly. What?
I have hit, I don't know how many deer throughout my driving career.
You hit what?
Deer.
Oh, deers. Gotcha.
You know where I'm going with this, Brenda?
No, keep going.
Okay. Two years ago in November, I was going to get groceries, which is like 45 minutes away. On my way up there, it was close to Thanksgiving time, I hit a deer with my fairly new car.
Aw. I did that too, just thought I'd let you know.
Probably it was a $500 deductible. I don't know how many thousands of dollars damage, but car's still drivable. So I went and got groceries, came home, and then last year, about the same time, in October this time, I was coming home a different direction, and I hit a deer. And I told Brenda this, and Brenda's like, okay, I don't remember exactly what it all was, but it ended up, it was something that I had to heal. And now I see the deer, you know, way out in the middle of the fields, but never in the ditches or on the road. It's like, shit, it did work.
So your inner world changed and it created a better outer world, because there was something about the same time of year or the same thing that would always happen. You had it ingrained. Oh, this always will happen type thing. I can't remember exactly what it was. And I said, well, you can change that. You can heal that. And you had an epiphany to see it now?
Yeah, it's like, wow. Jaden is in Medicine Women's Solutions, and she's wanting you to, can you define what awake means?
Okay. It's in the experience. This is the hard part. So I've kind of already explained it a little bit, but it's the experience. So here you are, you're choosing now, and you're looking and going, oh, I don't like ego. And you begin to notice that, oh, I don't like all of this bullying. What? I don't like, and you're starting to notice how there are things that are unfair. You know, we've been waking up really slow. But as you begin to wake up, you're like, how humor is used as a weapon, how these maneuvers of gaslighting is just the norm. And you're like, okay. But until you can get to that, when I help people awake, how's your life going? Write down your values. Let's do the wheel of life. What kind of movie do you have? What is the character? You know, so hopefully it's not a horror movie. And you get to look at your life. Oh, do you have this habit? You know, do you do this? How's your thinking on this? And then I give you information to broaden that to the point you're going, You learn to question. Now, you have to be responsible for using tools to help shift your old thinking. I can only help you begin to see it. And then you get to make the choice whether you want to wake up further by dissolving the emotional chemical peptides that are attached to the story that's unresolved, which is basically you got a continued story that makes all of these different issues appear. So you want to resolve those issues to help close certain stories, change the story, and learn to get your power back, your personal life force power, that you can physically heal, mentally, emotionally have stability, and spiritually grow. As you move forward, you're going to notice that I don't have to have these nasty thoughts. No, because the power of healing is within you. You don't need any other tool. Then when you start to catch that you're in the ego lesson, it's like, oh my God, I'm in it. What did Brenda do? You know, and then all of a sudden the thoughts, the RTGP, all of a sudden starts to calm down because the emotions do. And if you work with hope therapy and you work with EFT and any of these other beautiful tools, you'll start to let the emotions to lay to rest and separate so that your memories can be a memory, and without the traumas and the dramas always kicking the ass as if it was just as fresh today, even though it happened 20 years ago. You start to evolve by closing things, switching your path in the direction you want. So as you begin to awaken, you start getting epiphanies. Oh, connecting all the dots. Oh, really? You start being responsible for the energy in the room. So all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, you love it. And you're like, why did I do that? And then sometimes you'll start noticing that you took on other people's energies. Instead of observing, you absorbed, you morphed because that's how you're supposed to be. Or you had gone into a program that, oh, I got to be the good girl. And that means I have to cut myself to get, you know, I can't act this way. So you have to put on these masks. And as you wake up, you're like, but I don't want to do that. And then when you are in that live meditation of fuckery that's happening with your ego, you can use tools to make the turnaround time come back And then you become more of a spiritual investigator. How? Because your authentic self is popped and awake. Your ego is starting to go to sleep. And you, as the observer, the higher self, that part of you is awake. It always was awake, but you finally are taking the blinders off and you're giving it back your authentic power. So now your authentic self begins to look at life. It looks at its programs. It looks at the program that's projecting out and going, shit, these rings out are real. I go, whoa. And when you begin to notice this, you get more power. The power to be you, the life force to heal. I'm not talking about power versus, hey, I got to go out and beat somebody. No. Power versus force and a conscious level is that your first 3 chakras are just data centers, and that all the shit you've collected and the way you've responded, auto responses, strategies, belief systems, we could go on and on and on. But as you start to awaken and heal and change those thoughts, and I don't need to believe that way. I don't have to keep doing that tradition. I don't have to keep, and this is why sometimes you will wake up in the middle of being the black sheep in the family. You're like, I just don't fit in. I woke up to being positive. I was negative, and when I came out, and then all of a sudden it's like the true nature of who I am started to appear. I got so tired of this sour graping. I got so tired of every second, everything had to be negative. I was happy. I would get yelled at for being happy. That I just went inside and became very resentful. I ain't talking to these people. I cut myself from all the world. I mean, shit. When somebody from high school is here, I probably was a quiet person. Most people would think that oh, she's mean because I'd always have this face. Where did this resting bitch face come from? I think I was born with the ideas. I don't like interacting with this sour graping. I don't want to do it. Don't make me do it. So I stayed alone. Oh, she won't be friends first with me. We always have to come to you, blah, 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 whatever. I just was like, I don't know how to interact. It's not that I didn't really know how to interact. I just didn't want to interact with somebody always wanting to change somebody's behavior because I could see energy cords. I could see these things. I didn't like them. So what does it mean to be awake? You start to see things that you never saw before, but are always there in front of your eyes. And a lot of times you're going to go, but I don't like that. I don't have to decide to keep that. I mean, I have a choice. Yes. So you get the power versus force. The force is all a negative. And when you hit 500, that's love. And then the power of love, the power of enlightenment starts to have happened. And when you can change those thought processes and those beliefs, and you get the power of choice back. And you don't even know that half of your power of your choice is gone because it's based on autopilot programs. You know how to take offense. You know how it hurts. You know how loss feels. But we're not that anymore. We're changing. The power to awake is to get out of your hells. Because it's a choice, but you got tools to help you get it out faster. And the turnaround time of joy, you're hardwired for joy, and suffering is an option. So always anchor your life in giving hope. Why? Because the light at that little light gets you out. And you can wake up and be happy every day. And when you all of a sudden don't feel happy, you're like, I wonder what that sign is. Is my energies are off? How do I correct it? Because now you're going to learn skill. What you didn't know you needed to know, now you begin to know, and you're like, yeah, I want to know this. I want to know more. I could give you a whole bunch of reasons. So hopefully that helps answers what does it mean to be awake. It isn't, hey, got crystals, I'm awake. I can see the difference between that asshole and that asshole, but look, I'm still an asshole. No, that's not awake.
No, that's not awake.
It's so far from being awake. I mean, you have the light, but it's not on aiming at you. It is like, hey, You just know how to mimic. And if you watch these ego people, they will turn around and they will mimic you so well that they will use it as a weapon to hurt you. And they know it. That's not awake. Awake is finding within you, turn the light on. Anyways.
It's finding the joy inside of you.
Yes. And then you get your voice back. You feel authentic. You don't have to play these games.
Mm-hmm. And people that you think that you have to have in your life, or that have been prominent in your life for a long time, they just kind of disappear.
I can't live without them. Wake up. Where'd they go? You know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
You don't have to let the outside make you happy. It's not its job. It's yours. And when you put all that pressure on people, that creates karma. Karma is a cause and effect, but it creates shitloads of karma that you have to answer to because you're refusing to grow or you're making somebody else do it. The responsibility is yours. All right, enough of my lips flapping in the wind. That's what it means. Okay, somebody asked the question. I gave a long-winded but very interesting answer. And the definition of awake is a very long-winded, agreed 100%. Yes, it is. I could answer that. I could show you so many demonstrations of what this is. But he says, yes.
Oh my God, that's nothing compared to class.
Oh, what's that?
I said that definition is nothing compared to what we get in class.
Oh, well, tell me what's different. Okay.
I mean, yes, we would have gotten the same answer, only more in depth.
Yeah.
And our last class was, I think, 5 hours.
And you won't know it because spirit will just keep you.
It didn't seem like 5 hours.
No. Everything just kind of gets put on hold, your bladder, everything.
Yeah, everything just kind of.
But you're soaking it in.
Mm-hmm.
So Betty says, you see where your choices are. You redefine your beliefs and values based on your authentic self. Woohoo! You know, I feel like I need to do a round table with my academy kids, my peepers, so that they can give you their insights because their voice is so important because they didn't think they had one. And now their thoughts and their voice matters and they are finally realizing it. You guys seemed always shocked when I try to say, look, you matter. And then all of a sudden you're like, what's that?
It was like, oh my God, really?
Yeah, you guys got the experience of shit. And I'm like, ooh, then that makes my heart sing because you're getting it. And you're finally allowing yourself to own it for one. Oops. Okay, what did Danny say?
She said, I can't see past comments anymore, but you mentioned spleen earlier, connecting to impending doom, overtime hopelessness. It's funny, that is the case, because I had mono as a kid and my spleen never, okay, I lost my place.
Never healed, fully healed.
Never fully healed.
Isn't that interesting? Because metaphysically, which is my job, I'm a metaphysical physician, or, well, not a physician. What am I? Practitioner. I'm going for my doctorates, blah, 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 blah. metaphysical is that yin information, that hidden information. And there's, that what is that old phrase saying is that, oh, there's always meaning behind it, or there's always a reason it happened. Yes, metaphysically, it is the energy to which I see. And I'm not the only one. And that's the beauty of this. So we have had great people before us that had decided to go down this trail a long time ago, which has helped greatly. So that in this moment, we're able to stand and rise and actually have a foothold, that we can start to build that bridge of integration. So when you have your spleen, it is this form of, the spleen meridian has its own language. Let's just put it that way. And when it has its own language, and what do I mean by that? These are negative emotions that I use as key words to help tell a story about what's going on. And your spleen, if it is going to hook up with another, like with kidney, which is impending doom, spleen is this feeling attacked, judgment, distrust, panic, worry, deprived, self-loathing, all of that, and tell a story. And when you take little words such as, let me see if I can find it, and I'm assuming that I can find it, but if we were to look up mono, let's see if, come on, M-O, please, oh no, are you serious? What's another, I gotta find the actual big ass word that it really is. Oh, darn it, I thought I would have it, but it's not in, but they represent something. And a lot of times people hear me talk about it, and I was hoping to really have this for you, but I don't see it. Okay. We are going to start. Kelly says, I seem to find myself saying, oh, I'm not the only one who feels that way. Yes, that's the beauty of the academy and the tribal.
Epstein-Barr.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny.
Oh, God, yes, thank you. I was like, I know there's a name for it. My brain could not. Oh, well, yes. Now you go, and the thing about looking deeper on a metaphysical level is you get to notice the emotional disturbances. You get to see where your thoughts, your choices, you get to see how the energy goes. And Epstein-Barr has many different meanings, but this is what I say to people: one, none, or all. The first one is crushed talent. They're experiencing unfulfilled gifted suppression, resulting in a severe despair, rage, along with emotional episodes. Okay, is they also find themselves being used by their gifts in an uncomfortable outburst and breakouts of their talents in a non-functional or highly detrimental manner. They feel possessed by their explosions, and they become quiet or run amok anxiety about it. They're the product of the extremely possessive or aggressive parenting skills, are pooped out. They are pushed beyond their limits, and they have dread-driven fear of not being good enough, leading to exhaustion reaction. Or how about the moral monster? There is a programmed self-rejection that has resulted in a belly up of emotion. No, I can't. Something's going on with my eyesight all of a sudden. It's related somehow. Like I said, moral monster. There's a programmed self-rejection that has resulted in a belly up of the immune system, as the effects works against them if they were allergic to themselves and the world. Or how about desperate, vindicating seeking. They have a huge control trip that doesn't work, that arises because they have no sense of their personal worth or value. See, that's the part of the academy, is you start to learn your personal worth and value. They operated in a chronic fight and flight system arousal as a child. They're like, oh, controlling, blame throwing, impossible demands, continuously rejection. Poor family. I mean, poor child. Or the at effect. They are in a hapless, helpless, hopeless, victimizing experience. This vicious cycle, and the inability to self-nurture, self-appreciate, self-soothe, because there was none of that to be found. So that's just a few little things that I pulled from it. All right, so there's a lot to be learned, a lot to be had. And once the academy gets going, I want to teach. Like, I can feel like I'm supposed to teach how to become a soul coach, how to become the best possible reader you can by listening to the dead or non-fleshies or guides, learning how to get to the bandwidth and get out of that astral plane, so you don't have to be picking up, you know, you can be a great reader, but if your shit's coming from the astral, then yeah, it's a whole nother story. There's tons and tons. I feel like I said, I need to start an energy class. And it's not just here, learn Reiki, here, learn touch for health, here, learn this. It is understanding how you tick and how to correct it, so that you can sit there and not feel like a victim, or you can't, or I have to go to the doctor, I got to take a pill.
Brenda, can you get into solutions?
Sure, I can.
Because I've been spinning for quite some bit of the show, but I know it's not my spinning. And I asked Jaden, and they're spinning. She's spinning. I asked if she was spinning, and she get into spinning.
Okay, so yeah, lots is spinning in my life at the moment. Okay, so Jaden. All right, so what did you want me to do? Checker? What did you want?
I want to stop spinning.
Oh, you're picking her up. Oh, we're using your intuitive ability. See, this is another reason why that you need to learn for the academy, because Amy is finally becoming aware that this shit is not her shit. But when she's communicating, she has a tendency to, one of her abilities is to notice other people's stuff, but she doesn't know what's going on. And yeah, okay, see, this is the one thing about Jaden I love. Doesn't matter. It's not about parts. It's not about any of that. It's about authenticity of, hey, this is me here in this meat suit. So you're spinning. Interesting. Okay. You're spinning. They're spinning. And you want help, right? So Amy has got to learn to stop doing that. First of all, why would you do that? Why do you need to? You're testing your abilities. I understand that. So the soul, on a soul read, why is she spinning? And it is, she knows what hysterical moments are. So is she picking this up because she needs to resolve hystericalness that she has in her life? Yes, until she does that, she is always going to be able to connect with those that have hysterical energy in her life. So that means Jaden has had points where there's a hysterical moment. What does it mean by having a hysterical moment? All I can tell you, the best way to have, you will all know how to define this, but the best way to explain it for me was how my nervous system. So I'm taking my mom in to see the doctor, yeah, we're worried, but it was the shock of what came out of that doctor's mouth that my brain says, reject, no, can't be real. And all of a sudden it was like having to accept something I didn't want to accept. And my nervous system, I can't change what's happening. That's another part of the hysterical. So all of a sudden I'd be fine. And then out of the blue, I would just start crying and just with complete sadness that what did I just hear? And then go all the way down to the loss of hope. that there's nothing you can do. And then finally it would just calm down. I would go back, I got my shit together, and then all of a sudden, bam, there you go again. And it's like every 5 minutes I would go to bed, and all of a sudden, bam, I would just start crying uncontrollably. My nerves were just like somebody was playing with the light switch inside of me. That's what it felt like. And so when you have certain hysterical moments, your body just, it's not that you're having an outlandish, attack on somebody. The body just, so you can have it from different extremes. This is the part that's important. Okay, your body needs you to help to address why you don't know what to do with this OMG moment. That's why we have OMG tools. But that's not the only one you have to use, because this is hit harder, if that makes any sense. Okay, we could go talk about this in a long time, but we're not. So Amy, just get your shit together, because you need to start doing the source point. We're just going to do this real quick, because how to get a fast turnaround time. And this is another class that's, I actually made the protocol sheet today. So Miss Aim, your intention is to balance your polarity. And if you were to check your polarity, because I've seen you do it, you're like, but it's fine. Let me tell you what you just did. You had one thought. They had another thought. They had another thought. And you told. So when you were talking, your body answered to that thought. Oh, I'm fine. Checking polarity. Check the polarity. Check your polarity. Okay, so you control how you see things. Mm-hmm. So you're going to think, so where the intent is polarity, left side, you're going to notice that the energy in the inside. So you're going to do PC7. And notice what you do towards yourself when you try to expand. You get hurt. I don't want to do it. I don't want to go out there. I don't want to get a job. I don't want to have to do this. I don't want to work around people. I don't want to have to, I don't want cooties from that person. We create this as a kid. My daughter was trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, great person. And then all of a sudden, she's like the insect queen. I swear to God, all insects go and talk to her. She's finally accepting the fact that there's always got to be a bug looking at her. So this time, she was trying to figure out, I think there's something I have to look at. I don't know what it is. We found out it's territorial. We found out that it's related to when she went to school, she could pick up people's energies, and it just felt icky to her. So to demonstrate it in her adult life, many, many years later, she's standing there and she sees this moth on the ceiling. She's like, is it dead? So she blows on it. Oh, no, it flew away. Okay. Jump hours later, she's in the shower, she gets out, and the same moth came and landed on her thigh. She's soaking wet, right? And now it's got moth powder on her. Ew! Jumps back in the shower, washes off. And I said, that was a great demonstration. Thank you for the moth dying, to demonstrate why when you let the ickies on the outside, if you don't understand them, we look at them like, ew. All the insects are like, ew, I don't want to, ew. So it was kind of, there you go, Ames. So now I need you to, you want to do the whole, no. So right brain toward yourself. You're going to do triple murmur. Right side only. So what are we demonstrating? We're demonstrating that the physical thing is happening. It doesn't feel good. It can control her, and all she's doing is source point healing, which is one of the healing tools that I'm going to start thinking of offering so you guys can do this. So we're going to jump right into the 1 minute reads as soon as Amy gets her ass in balance. Oh, apparently you are. Okay, do you feel balanced?
Yeah.
All right. Now you're petrified about something. Good God, and you're split. So I'm just going to explain to people what is a split. When I say a split, there was a little piece of you that died. Did it literally die? No, it just means you split it off and you're like, ah. But if you've ever had a situation where you've been raped or molested or incest or somebody violated your territory and you couldn't make it stop while you're usually in the middle of it, a little piece of you will split in order for you to handle it. And that's what I call a split, because it'll feel like a little piece of you died. So when you get a chance, Amy, you're going to do a little R1S and you're going to notice that it is this karma imbalance. Okay, whatever it is. Okay. And that you can feel it on a deep level, because I think you know what I'm talking about. Well, you had something happen at 5 and the other one is at 23. So who's our first read? Danny. Wonderful. Danny. Okay, remember, we do have a free pay it forward reading, and Amy will take the last call for, just say Y6. If you've already said Y6, don't say it again. Just anybody's new.
Nope, it's already in the drawing. If you've already said it.
Holy crap, it looks like darker than crap in here. I'm going to need to have a light just so it beams on my... I had blah, blah. I don't see it anymore. I had a little light with a magnifying glass on it so I could actually see. Because it gets so dark in this corner. And I've just made it disappear. How the hell did I do that? What does she mean I can do Charlie? Don't know. Okay, ready? Danny.
Yeah, her son Charlie.
Oh, her son Charlie. Well, there's a little action you need to take, because something about a wound. Oh, there's some invading energies that caused him to have a wounded pride. And he's been disconnected. He doesn't want to, really play, I guess. His water in his system. So you got to remember, your water, what does it do? It changes its shape. And if there is any negative energy, and he just feels like he's under pressure, that he has to do something, that he just feels very sluggish. And how you're going to help him is that you're probably going, if you could get him to hold L1D, that would be great, because he has to put on a what's called a mask, because a part of him feels like he has to show up a certain way in order to take care of the thing he can't do. So, but if you can help him, if he doesn't do L1D, then maybe when you're holding him and talking to him, that he, you can talk to him about the subject, and then, play with this area, just try to stimulate the energy in that area as you're talking. Okay. And it can help the child tremendously. Or play a game. You're like, and sing a song. I don't know how old he is. It's like, this little love of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, shine, shine. And he may just giggle because you're healing him, but you're talking, you're telling him a story. You're this little bunny would jump over here and do this, and then it would jump here and do this. You can get very creative with the doing tools, but just help them check and connect in. So that, and they usually will have a fast turnaround time, just so you know. Okay, who's next?
Amanda.
All right, Amanda. So Amanda, there is some incompatibility with some actions. There's a power of choice, and I ask if it's about being indecisive. They go, no, it's just that towards yourself, the action you need to take has become habitually. It's like, I can't make myself stop doing a particular habit, but I know I need to. And so then you become incompatible with toward yourself, because the action you took toward yourself was to bully yourself. Remember, it's like, if you can't change the outside, therefore you go in and you end up saying stuff to yourself. they said that there's a lot of self-imposed limitations. It's like, I won't allow myself to do this because of them, or I can't do that because of this. And you have to begin to look at, what do you do? How do you do it? And you got to decide if you want to continue to keep taking that action. And it's looking at your story, and it's looking at your choices a little bit deeper. Okay, who's next?
Betty.
Hello, Betty. Deep down, there is an autopilot that goes with the story. And they're saying that the actual energy, the inside, is that it's about strategy. And so the little girl had to start wearing a mask about 2 years old because the inside feeling is that I don't like this awkwardness when I'm disapproved of. And because you felt such a disapproved of, you actually felt like you had to put on a mask so that you could have, the false self-assuredness, because you had to learn to become indifferent because of their fear of judgment. It was just like whatever mood they're in would go, ah! And you'd be like, so you had to quickly figure out, and that's what we do as kids. If we go inward, being timid, and I feel like at one point you felt a certain way, but then you had to turn out to be a rebel, because in a way it's like they were trying to push you. You were saving yourself. Two, as you got older, it was like, I got to make you tough so you can, work in this world. If that makes any sense. Okay, who's next?
Angie.
Now, Angie, there's a certain amount of panic and helplessness that seems to be causes you to disconnect. Your grandma says that this is a strategy you began to develop when you were 4 because people would manipulate you. They would just get to you. They would get to you. And to the point where you're just like, you gave a reaction. There is the scorning effect that occurs. Now, grandma is saying that, yes, something about yellow. I don't know if there was yellow curtains and a blue walls, or there was some type of a scorn. But somehow something, because the breeze is coming in, something so delicately nice and good memory had been marred by when you were scorned, when you expanded yourself. And therefore, it created an instant result for you to become bashful, or in this case, to avoid. So when you go as an adult, try to do something, this program avoidance would come into play. And it's kind of messing with how you can move forward. Okay. Who's next? LaRonda. Okay, so LaRonda, the water in your body has been programmed with some judgment. And part of the way to live when you were 7 is that I can't be confident. I can't be confident because your body says it's recalling something. And the left brain says, this is who I am. And it's like you were disgraced. Oh, does this have to do with the physical? No, something about disgraced. You know what the feeling of being disgraced. And the best way to explain the disgraced, and so you need to do a little L1D on that, is like, oh, you've got asthma, and you're like disgraced, or but there was something that started way beyond that. And you had to put on, you weren't accepted, so you put on a mask, and part of that mask, was because you felt disgraced. Okay, who's next?
Oh, I'm reading Danny's comment.
Yes, go ahead.
Kelly.
So is that worth reading?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Danny says, I've been trying to help him to do the OMG and always goes, why? Ha ha ha. I know Kurt's mom is likely a big perpetrator, but it's hard trying to stay calm when having to say the same thing that I know he knows because he's done it before. But now he's terrified to be wrong. Oh, see, there's the mask. So he just tries to wait for me to give him the answer. Breaking his habit of fearing judgment is hard in a poor, insecure 5-year-old. he's been showing signs of autism for a few years. I think that might have to do with communication issues. Well, yeah, you're literally watching this boy put on a mask and living up to staying behind that mask. Um, One of the things, like I said, if you can begin to do any type of healing with him, and you have to tell him, and I would do a emotional chart and show him the definition of failure is not what ego people want. And that, and the hardest part for a 5-year-old is because the authority figures, okay, this is where you're going to have to learn how to help him sink or swim and help him be strong. Now, the more he begins to heal the pain from these experiences, the more he'll change the way his family members will show up to him. It usually will be for the better for him. But until that, you will have to learn how to figure out how to speak to him. And if you can help him say, it's okay to have these feelings with mommy. And it's okay to notice how some people act. You may have to, show him that bullying, if you want to teach him that bullying is not right, but when you're around certain people, that becomes your choice. Do you help him save his ass so he don't get in trouble? But again, if you help him heal his hurt and his pain, then the cord will begin to change, and for him, which then maybe those people will stop. There's no guarantee. You just got to help him change that belief system and that fear. And you don't need it to be a foothold. Okay. All right. Where are we at?
Number 6, Kelly.
All right, Kelly. Taking a disbelief that I am hated. And they said that there's an active memory that had given you so much proof, like when you were 4 years old, that the outside basically felt like it demonstrated that. They said the word felt. Whether it was physically, how you interpret that, it's like when people read, is that you interpret it as that, oh my God, they do hate me. And the feeling of how you've come to that realization as such a young child is that what you did towards yourself after that. And that is you created a bunch of pictures of everybody giving you disapproval. They disapprove. Excuse, oh my God, my body. They disapprove of me. They disapprove of me. And that is what you need to change, is that do you need to repeat that? And they said, no, because you have learned that you're an it now. I'm just an object. And you lost the power of your voice. So you need to begin to awaken to the fact, yes, this is proof, this is how it looks, but I'm going to take my power back. And the best way to take your power back is do a little L3D. Okay, left wrist, third position, down here, push your thumb in deep and heal it out. Right, you don't know what I'm talking about, then we're just going to start sending you to the website so you can really dive in. Remember to measure, then after you heal, witness. Who's next? La 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 la.
Kayla.
Who?
Kayla.
Kayla. Day-o. A daylight comes and I want to come home. Okay, controlled. There is this despair energy that you feel like you're in a karmic debt situation, and that you are asleep in your dark night of the soul. Now, it doesn't mean you have goobers. It just means that you can't see something in the dark. So we got to shed some light on it so that you can go ahead and say, I can make a better choice. I can heal out of it. And they said the little thing that keeps repeating is that every time that you try to expand your importance to yourself. Now, ego is like going, you are so wrong. But in spirit, as you are learning how to have a voice and that it's okay to be who you are, okay, there is these arrogant people that like to go, oh, look at you. And there's the shame and the guilt that comes with it. This pattern needs to be done. And that is, you need to start taking the emotion of pain of how they get to you out of it. And if you were going to do that, then you would do a little L2D to start with. Left wrist, second position, nice and deep. Make sure you place it here and measure it. And heel it out. Okay, anybody else here? Give me your number. Give me your number.
Vicky's number 8.
Vicky. All right, Miss Vicky. Okay, so there is this looking for praise, looking for praise, looking for praise, because all you've ever saw has been negative, negative, negative. And you've been drawing people in your space that are so negative, negative, negative. They don't even know they're negative. Even your spiritual friends seem to be negative. And you're like, oh my God, I just want a little bit of joy. Where is it? And I feel like you're stuck. And it's because you're dreading going back to where you don't want to go. And you're like, I don't know how to change the outside. And because I've contracted myself for so long, I don't know how to change the outside. And it's just a habit. And I actually really am timid, but I'm not going to allow myself to feel that because I see it as being deficient. And I feel like I've dishonored things. Okay. I'm just shamed and mortified. I don't know how to do this next part. Okay. And they're saying that somehow the good is the enemy instead of, so you're waking up. It's tough. I get it. And really to get you to notice it is that we don't want you to go back to sleep to do sour graping. So if you see sour grapes or you're doing sour grapes or whatever, L3S, start off with that. Who's next? Anybody else here? Ooh, I'll take 19 and then 15. Melinda, there is a little bit of a lack of emotion. So in your heart, it's like, I don't feel emotions on this. I mean, literally, I don't know what the exact subject is, but you've also then went into indifference. And in order to survive, you learn to be indifferent. But at the same time, there's just no feeling and something and lives. And this is part of your dark night of the soul. You're beginning to notice. So what keeps you there is that there's no feeling. You need to heal that out, L1D. That there is, my reaction is I have to always be indifferent. That's a little R1S. And that people just act mean. You're going to hold the upper lip. And how to do that is this. Instead of holding your wrist, you be doing this. Okay. Number 15, Ashley. Ashley. There is a little bit of frightful overjoyed, a little bit of love and hate. That means, oh my God, I'm going to get in an accident. Oh God, thank God I lived. I mean, there's literally taken at the end, a little love and hate. I hate you. Oh, but I really love you. I mean, there's this, you're just right there. And your nerves are like going, oh my God. And they said, this is such a habit. You've watched it growing up. So that means that the conditioned process is set in place. But the control, the way you're beginning to wake up and notice how people control things, it is control. It is a control. And maybe you learn that habit. Part of you is like, turn the team. It is that when I get scorned, I put on a mask and then I can't help but to feel like I have to have a voice. So do you bully? And when your definition of bully is that you could be mean, but what if your bully is that you have to, I need to change your behavior and I can do it in the nicest way, but I can change your behavior so I can get my behavior. So you have to look at what bullying looks like. Okay. You really, really have to know what bullying looks like. And then you can, so definitions and heal it out. So now we're going on to number 16 and oops. And then there's these efforts are unreceived. So it's like time and time again. Now they're telling me that yes, when you see a need, somebody needs you, you're great at fulfilling it. But you're actually meeting some people that really don't want that. And so they actually get upset. So you'll go and you'll do it. And then you'll feel like they really are love unreceived. But they're like, no, I just want to do it myself. You don't need to do this. And so this habit is that's what they're there for, is to help you realize that part of always having to do it was a cap that you put on because when you were growing up, that's the only way you could fit in. And now you can take the wonderful qualities on us, but you can also learn how to back away from always having to do it. Add yourself in the equation. Don't get them something, if you're used to, like with me, it was like, oh, if you're out there getting yourself something to eat, you have to get me something to eat. If you're getting yourself something to drink, you have to do it for me too. And I realized I don't have to. And it was like, okay, I'm starting to do it when I'm nice. But now I'm putting my agenda on other people. I'm eating, therefore you got to eat. But I'm on a diet. Why do I have to eat? And it's like, so you're learning to different levels. That's what they're pointing out. Let's go on to 20 and then I see 9 and 10. So I'll do 9, 10, and then 18 and 20.
And 11 is in solutions.
Okay. So just remember, my screen's I'm going to lose my screen. Amy, just keep track of it. 9, 10, 11, 16, 18, and 20. Oh, no, did I just do 20? Who in the fuck did I have done? I am so lost myself now. All right. You know what? I can't remember if I did 16, 18, or 20.
You did 16. You haven't done Amber yet, no.
And what about Linda? I didn't do Linda.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to go 9, 10, and 11, 18, and 20.
Everybody is here except for I haven't seen 13.
Okay, and then I see Kevin. Hey, Kevin. All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to just keep me informed. Tammy, 9, Tammy, here we go. You can't seem to figure something out, and it's not that I can't figure it out. It is, I'm in the process of I can't figure this out. But there seems to be this aggressive energy that comes in when you're happy. You're starting to notice that I think I see them scorning me. Why do I? Because, so you're learning to break, you're waking up and learning to see a pattern that it is about right and wrong, but who wrote the book? So I feel like while you're in the middle of this, wait a minute, why should I be scorned about my happiness? They're saying that you're starting to notice how others seems to affect the inside of you. And then it's like this automatic response comes about and you're like, wait a minute, you know what? They're starting to get to me. I notice this pattern. I don't want to do this anymore. So that's good on you. You just have to wake up. Now, here's the problem with that, though, with some people. What if you think the person that's doing it now is not really doing it to you, but you're only recalling a memory of the person that did it to you? You need to heal that out. Go tap it out. But if you have brought into you the person and they really are doing it, tap that shit out. When you awaken, you'll start to notice a difference. So Michelle. Something is very monotonous. It's same shit, different name. And you're starting to notice that you're repulsed by it. You're okay. You're putting up with it. And now you're like, yeah, you know what? I really don't like it anymore. It seems to be a pattern. I'm always disapproved of. Why am I this is the language? Oh, you need to talk to Amy. She's woke up to that language. And you realize that there's this instability communication skills at best. And you're like, but this pattern's like there every day. Why do I need to do that? And then I give this auto response. Why do I have to do that? You're waking up to realize I don't just have to be a robotic. That's a very good thing. So when you're working with people that have their right and wrong and they change the rules on their right and wrong, they can't believe anybody else has a right and wrong except for they are the only ones that have the right and wrong, which means you're starting to realize who in the fuck wrote this right and wrong thing and what book are they following and where did they learn it from? So you've got a crack and light's coming in. That's all I got to say. Number 11.
Yep. Belinda.
Thank you. Love. What's love got to do with it? Got to do with it. Oh, I feel this awkwardness that there is this part of, I just want to avoid because, they love me, but oh my God, I just don't know if I like being loved that way. Because I always feel like I have to be in this helplessness position. Why is this feel like I have to cater to someone that's always crying? If you look at them, they may be 3 years old or 2 years old. Stand as the mother just for a moment and just think, do I really have to bend my will or get my will bent so that they can so they're trying to change my behavior. I changed my behavior because this is the relationship we created. Do I really want this? And it's in the beginning of the awakening for you. All right, who's next? Not 12. I don't see 12. I'm going to jump up to 16, which
14.
is
14. Rhonda Marie.
Rhonda Marie, 14 next. Okay, so there is this miffed. You can't help yourself, and we all do this. It's like you can't help but get miffed. And they said that this is part of how you begin to, as soon as you get miffed, it's a sign that your energy is starting to go and shrink it down because you're like, I don't want to play. And so your energy shrinks down. And what happens is this is just an automatic reaction, but it's a reaction because something really bothered you at 1. And you know what? You actually saw this in your environment. This is how you're supposed to act as a human. When you were 1, this is how you're supposed to act as a human. You're waking up and you're realizing this is a clue. I don't want, do I have to do this? You're starting to notice the power of feeling and understanding, and you're finally learning how to describe, which is a good thing because when you do that, the vibrational rate on the outside begins to become aware that you're watching. And what happens in the quantum field when you watch something? You change it. Who's next? 16?
No, you've done 16.
Linda?
18.
Linda. Criticism, resentment, mask. What do all these have in common? It is how I lived in despair and deprived myself for others. And this is a mask I used to wear. Ooh, used to. And you're beginning to notice that your frequency has changed, that you no longer need to bring them in, but to repel them away. And by doing that, you're noticing that the karma is starting to balance, which is a good thing. And you're looking at the description more of what is an it, what is an object, what is, and it's about the conversations. Are they present? Are they communicating with you? Are they just so used to their flippant language that you just accept it? And it's not, when you hear it, you'll start noticing how asleep they are. Okay, 20? Huh?
Amber, 20.
Yeah. Now, Crystal Allen, what number is she?
She doesn't have a number. She not said yes, please.
Oh, okay. Well, I've seen her, so, but we don't know if she wants it. Okay, so Amber, you're betraying yourself. You have betrayed yourself. The vibration on the outside controls your inside, and you betray yourself. You have the inability to expand because the vibration on the outside is your identity. So they're your identity. You go over here, they're your identity. They're your identity. That means you don't have any power back. Your willpower, your identity, your core of you has always been based on having to, in the shadow, is that you had to look outside here to find who you are. Okay. And your instant reaction is that you have to contract. What would happen if you didn't contract? What if you showed up differently? What if you decided you didn't want that identity? Do you know what I mean? All right, who's next?
Ashley.
Ashley. Diminished and paralyzed will. Sometimes we will take and we have the will to do something, and then all of a sudden we just don't feel like we have our will, but we have a diminished feeling. And that's what we used with our will. We chose to be diminished, and we took our will and put us in that spot. You had created an auto response to these pictures that are in your head that happen to be some of construction and some of things that were real. And when you think of the things that were proof, you felt your vulnerability, and then you would then go and you think, oh, I'm going to run here at the end of my time limit, or think, you know what, maybe I don't want to feel vulnerable. So therefore, then the outside energies change your vibration, and then on the inside, you're like, yeah, I'm just going to go do this. So you're doing a pattern, a loop around. I would say if you can catch that you're doing it, begin to do EFT to break the pattern. Who's next? Crystal. So there's a lot of unreceived what? You have a lot of worth, but you can't see that. And so you're not receiving that you already have worth. You just keep looking and seeing how you don't have it. And you're caught in this loop of saying, see, you don't appreciate me. You don't. It's a loop. It's a loop. And again, with loops is that once you understand that this is, as soon as, you're good, everything's great, and somebody says something, you go into reaction. And then it starts all over again. And to stop that, I would tell you to go to my website, medicinewomansolution.weebly.com, and start looking at EFT, because the full gamut of the EFT is looking at the pictures, and you're going to be able to get them out of your left brain and right brain, because you're going to be counting and singing. What's Amber's timestamp?
143.
143, Amber. 143. Okay. And Crystal says she wanted me to scan her back. Now, I'm going to tell you, you're not able to be supported. So that's why you feel the energies are not there. And because you have the outside, you're so scared of the outside because of past bad experiences of being beaten, your body is in high alert of feeling when things change. And so you can't help but to think something's there. Okay, next. Philippa. Okay, so there's a suspicious acceptance, and it makes you feel weak about it. You're watching yourself be going into something, and they said that it's normal to go into this, but you're like, I don't want to do this. So what happens is you're addicted to a particular pattern, a particular emotion. And there's a part of you, and you're like, well, I don't know if I want to do it. But then if you don't, I feel this panic start to arise. And when this panic starts to arise, and I can feel it in your etheric body, is that all of a sudden you become very they're just saying that you're giving yourself the attention. Oh, you become aware of it. You don't realize it, but your body becomes aware of it. And then you go into called a symptom of procrastination. So your body is aware, and then it gives you the result. 21.
You did that. And
I did?
Yeah, her timestamp is 144.
April, your timestamp is 144. Who's next?
I'm out of 1 minute. I'm wondering what number I'm at on R1S, and April 1 to 6 minutes.
All right, you're at a 3, and April, you're coming in. Does she know she won a 6 minute? April, you want to what? Huh?
I just threw it.
April, you won. Woohoo! You won. Free 6 minutes. You can come on in if you want. I'll keep your picture hidden so you don't have to, unless you want it, don't mind it. Because sometimes when we're just at a stage like, hey, I'm combing my hair, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, I'm so over winter. Well, I'm over the breeze of freezing your cheekies off.
You could have come. You could have come and visited today. It was about 86, 42% humidity.
No, I'll get my shit stormed. when spring or summer comes.
It was humid today. It was beautiful out.
Oh, okay. Oh.
It was like 42% humidity. It was beautiful.
Excellent. And I'll tell you, I love when the sun shines because in the United States, I loved spring just because the color of the sun had this yellow to it. And it was only during this particular part of the spring. But here, I swear to God, I get that beautiful glow every time the sun comes out. Whether it's winter, spring, fall, whatever, it's like, oh my God. Oh, Philippa says usually the result is injury or pain. Oh. Cynthia says, hi there, I had a bad hair day. Bad hair day yesterday. Well, I think I have those every day. Sometimes you see me in a hat. Not just for decoration, people. Oh, when we were in Louisiana, holy shit, that knocked me on my ass. Yes, that's too much. It's like with winter here, it's this cold breeze. It's not just cold, it's when the breeze comes that really affects me. And live in a drafty house and a double bricked, which means the cold, it's always freezing in the house, warmer outside. And doesn't matter if you open the doors or not, it's the breeze comes through. So it's like, okay, great. Spring is my favorite season, Diana says. Yeah, and it's like, are we there yet? Okay, so April says, I won 6 minutes. I'm here on the phone. What do I need to do? Okay, so now that we got your attention, do you have the Zoom app? Do you have the Zoom app? Aw, sorry, I saw some animals. If you have the Zoom app, then what you do is then you will go and click on the link. If you got, is the link there?
Yep, the link is it's pinned in the.
All right, then you click on the link and it comes in, and then I open the door and let you in. Otherwise, if you have the Zoom app and you say join a room, it is 823-1817-2752. That's a big one. So it's very important. Huh?
Did I shift out?
No. No, you went in turbulence. Turbulence. Geez, oh, Pete, he must got the door open because, man, I'm freezing. So I'm hoping this weekend I can get my hair. I think I might be adding some blue.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's one of those washable ones. I'd like permanent, but no, it's all right. Rhonda says, if you ever have a chance to visit you, wait until spring or fall. Yeah. You found me a candy thermometer? Oh my God, I was in the store the other day and I swear to God, I thought I saw one. Yeah, a meat. I already got a meat one. Candy thermometer. Oh my God. Those are like rare.
I think I have my grandma's, which is probably 70 years old. Glass.
Yes, nice tube.
Yeah.
The tubers. Yes, absolutely. It's very cold. If you have problems, April, don't worry. We can do it like this. I'm just going to give you a chance to really get your winnings, your value. So anyways, if you are interested in the Academy, please let me know. You need to personally let me know. Right now, I've only gotten 3. People say they really want it, but you know what? 3 people it's going to cost, but I need to get it lower. I'm not sure exactly how many started out, because if it is just a small amount, then I may just do some online, which you'll get exposed and to the information, learn it, and then go in and give you a once a month. Uh, Everything will be arranged once I know how many people are going to be involved. And
But Brenda, do we maybe need to put up a meme or something on
well,
the page?
yeah, I was thinking about it. I just can't even get a chance to do a meme, but yes, I will do one, I think. I just felt like all of a sudden my necklace was like choking me, and I'm thinking, well, it's not a snake. What the hell?
It's a clue for April's reading.
Oh, of course it is. As soon as we get connection, we will find out what we're going to do. I need another sweater, and of course I took them all out of the room. And where it says call to the internet, click on the words itself. There, she's got it. And as soon as you unmute, then we can. Okay. There we go. All right, Miss April. Do you want me to keep it small, or can I make it big?
It doesn't matter.
You can make me big. Look at her. How wonderful. Hey, I think our glasses are almost the same.
Yeah.
Almost. Okay. Well, how can I help you, dear?
I've just been on a healing journey and just ran across your videos in the last week or so. And I think I've seen you 3 times. I look on Facebook and there you are. And every time you're talking about something, I'm just like, yes, I need to know that information. I need to know that information. Excellent. So, I feel that I am in an awakening myself.
You are.
And I just, I've learned to change my mindset and change my vibes and do different things. And I'm guided and I'm going, and I'm just guided to get more information and more tools to help me.
Excellent. You chose the right person, not to toot my own horn, but Spirit has wanting to create a movement. Spirit has wanted to make sure that you like one of the good candidates, because you're not going to sit there and take offense to it. You're going to go, yeah, that shit needs to be looked at. Now here's a tool. Oh my, yeah, I'll take that tool and run with it. And then what happens is you start to get faster results for your life, for you to wake up and to grow. So yes, I think we are meant to meet. So here we go. What I'm looking here is that you had to learn how to become numb to how the outside energy was broadcast at you. So if somebody was yelling, you had to learn not to react. You had to, go numb. Does that make sense? Uh-oh, she freeze?
Yes, I lived and I grew up in violent.
Gotcha. You grew up in a violent. Yes, you froze there just for a moment, but yes. Okay, so it's not serving you anymore, but it needs to go. So how do we do that? And it says that the numbing ended up being that you have to notice that you contracted your energy. So even if you decide that I'm going to consciously not be numb, your body's consciousness says, I still have to go there. And it has to still look and say, there's a little bit over there. So it's looking for triggers. And what happens is that you trained yourself to close your energy down. So you want to express your idea. Somebody will say something, your body's consciousness, numb, and all of a sudden you'll betray yourself. And then you're like, well, why did I do that? And it's not that you were dumb. It has nothing to do with it. It has to do with programs. And so to get you to wake up from that, they're saying, notice that along with feeling numb is that you have to do this energy of making yourself feel like shit. Do you?
Do I purposely?
Make yourself, but see, it could be one of those 41 thoughts per minute that you don't know that you're meant to.
Yeah, I I believe I do that because I noticed how I think today, it depends on how I feel tomorrow. So if I have good thoughts today, tomorrow I feel good. If I've had those negative thoughts or thoughts I don't want or someone else's energy that I don't want, then the next day I will find that I don't feel so good.
Exactly. Okay, so there is this. So notice how the numb, making yourself feel like shit because of this. But here's another clue that comes in. They're saying, have you ever been in a situation where you'll do things out of sympathy because you're a great person, but because you have to become something out of sympathy for others, meaning they will kind of do and say the sympathy thing, and all of a sudden you will respond to that because there's a part of you that's afraid that it's going to be like when you were younger. Does this make sense? Oh crap, she froze. Ooh, there she is.
Yes. I feel that I understand that. I've had to be responsible when I was younger. I couldn't really be a kid and be myself.
Yep.
But I'm also an empath and I want to fix people. And I'm like, nope, that's their own journeys. You stay away from that energy. And I'm learning to do more of, stand my ground, hear my voice.
Good. Good. So be proud of yourself. You're waking up. These are stages of waking up. So they're saying, notice like the resonating broadcast from people, and you had part of the empath. Even though, is an empath for you considered a curse, or have you found the blessings yet?
Oh, no, I feel that it's a blessing.
Good. Just checking to see where you're at. Okay. Because they said that you may not be aware of when somebody's broadcasting because they may not even know they have it themselves. But you have a hair trigger response as soon as you feel like it is some form of violence, some form, you know what I mean? It's got a tipping scale. And so without realizing it, if somebody's over here showing erratic behavior, God, I can't believe they act that way. Your body will go, and you won't realize that your energy is sunk in and you're starting to go into an automatic response. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I understand.
They want you to address that. And that takes time because it is such an auto response that you got to catch it yourself. And once you eventually start to heal it down, you'll begin to heal the different stages. And then right before it, and then when you see them do it, eventually you're going to go, oh, you will notice that you won't even create a response. You won't betray yourself. Your energy won't be coming sucking in. They can throw their little tantrum and do whatever it is that they need to do, but you won't have to react, respond, and lose yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so part of this you will do is that what it's called hope therapy, and you will end up taking your left wrist, and you have to find that first position under your thumb. Yeah, and then you put your thumb there, and then you're going to do like this. Now your thumb's going to be pushed in deep. Your pointer finger's here, and you're going to wrap it around. And when you hold your head here, this whole process is an important thing. So you're going to take everything I said. You're going to start to write it down. Yes, it's a 10. It's a 10. I think I said there's a couple in there. So there's like a 10. You can feel it. You know it. This is how you know your experiences. You'll see the pictures. But this is what's written in part of the heart, because you can't really be confident because you don't want your heart crushed. This is what ultimately happened to the little girl. Even though all those stages are important to heal out, we need to get it out of the heart. Okay. And so when you go back to look at everything I said, you're going to hold those L1D, and you're also going to hold L2D. That's left wrist, but this time it's in the second position. Okay, down here. And then you're going to put your thumb in the second position, nice and deep, and do the same thing. And this one is important to begin to notice because it's about having to feel like shit. It's having to be, you have to eat, because your younger self irrationally was trying to figure out how to solve yourself to protect you from this out here. You have to help raise that inner child to some degree, because it's going to go into this irrational thinking. Okay, they're acting this way. I need to go do this. And therefore I'm going to pull my energy back and da, da, da. it has all these steps you may not be aware of. Just know, are you irrationally thinking? Are you prostituting yourself out, which means you're selling yourself out? Are you, having to sabotage yourself so they'll be happy? Are you, being a victim mode, blaming, it's coming at you? These all have to be unwound. Okay. And to do it, there's where you're going to start is L2D and L1D. Okay.
Yes.
And you just let your mind, don't think positive. You defeat the purpose. Get into how you know it at the little ages you are. And if you're not sure, with grace and ease, thank you, Spirit, you will cause yourself to see, oh, here's an experience. Oh God, I feel it. Oh, grab hold and start healing. If you can't do it in front of people, but write it down, take that fresh experience and go do it and heal it out. Because sometimes we can't amp and ramp ourselves. Oh, that's a 4. Then Spirit will have show you, which is your future self, will help rearrange it. So it'll show you. And then you can go, there it is. It's a big fat 10. I've got it now. Don't waste it. Go heal it. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
When you're done healing it, you have to witness it.
Yes. Witness it.
And then you also have to do the hookup.
Yes. So you're in the thick of it, and then all of a sudden you're holding this point here, and you're like, you feel and emotions, and all of a sudden the emotions calm down, your thoughts calm down. Get it to 0. And then all of a sudden you're like, now witnessing. Because before you couldn't change it. Witnessing is, oh shit, I'm changing it. Look it, I'm healing. Witnessing it is, oh. Yeah. And then more witnessing is when all of a sudden you're holding your power and this happens and you really haven't lost your shit. Ooh, I didn't. Oh, there I go. Okay, go back to healing because you're gathering the next layer. But when you witness, your brain says, oh, we can predict with something better now because we're taking in new information. And when you have memorized that witnessing, you won't go back to sleep because your ego can't. It won't let you. It's like you put a wedge in and you're said, I got you, ego, shut up. You can't do this to me.
Would that be
okay?
Would the witnessing be like having a situation where normally I would have like stressed out or ran away, but I just there and was like, okay, I didn't react to this situation.
Yes.
Would that be witnessing, or is that something different?
No.
Okay, because I have done that in different situations.
Yeah, because it's part that it does not own you. And when you're like, oh, I see it, witnessing the situation, witnessing, because again, your brain, we know how to memorize our health. We think, create tracks, and our body holds it. But when we witness and we think about the witnessing, it'll start to override the bad. It'll start our brain then will go in and grab the wisdom and say, oh, I got a choice now. I'm going to take this one.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, that is witnessing.
Awesome. Because that is a wonderful feeling.
It is.
Yes. It is. It is an awesome feeling.
Good. Yeah. You're totally ready to be a student. Okay. When you're all done, finger in the belly button, finger in the forehead, push in and lift up and smile. So you're creating all of those chemical peptides that are good, and you're correcting the energy of your egg so that when more shit comes, it can bounce off. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. Good. Well, thank you, April. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. I appreciate it so very much. So I'm excited to learn more from you. So
hey, I am ready too. That'd be great. Oh, I would love to see you again and again, because we're creating this wonderful tribe of people that know we want to wake up and move forward. All right. Bye, hon.
Bye.
Well, that was good. That was a really good one. So there's a lot we can do. Oh my God, Cynthia, you broke your neck 6 years ago? Whoa. It took a while to get back to work. Yeah, but my God, Cynthia, you fixed your neck.
Awesome.
Just when do I want to start classes? Well, that depends on, because once spirit gets enough information, all of a sudden it'll be like boom. It knows that it has to be you're going to get great value, but the cost, because there's a difference between Australia and the cost of living is higher, you know, in the United States and Canada and all over. You know, I'm trying to figure out the best way that the energy is balanced. Okay. Because I know I could charge an arm or leg because I know the value of this information is very important.
Right.
But I also know what's more important is that I want all of you little light workers, the little spiritual light holders, because you're not warriors. You don't need to be. That's such an old thing. You know, you're the light holders. And when you start to wake up, and when you hold your power, and when you move into love, and when it creates this chain reaction because we're all connected. So once we get started, it'll be boom.
Mm-hmm. That's the way the academy went. The pilot class.
Yeah. Well, the same for this doing the shows. It was, hey, you're going live. I don't have a computer or a phone. That's okay. Spirit lined it up. And it was like within 2 weeks. What are we going to talk about? Just open your mouth. Let us talk. Yeah, I know the routine. Yeah, you know. Oh, can you give her a timestamp?
158.
158. So that's why, and the thing is that the tribe is that if you are feeling like shit, you know, learn the tools and but if you're like, has anybody else felt this way? You're going to hear people probably respond, or you know, but we're learning. Here's the biggest thing everybody's learning before I go is the time turnaround. There is this expectation. You know, oh, Amy looks. Brenda looked at it. Okay, answer. I'm waiting for an answer. I'm right here. What are you doing? Why aren't you answering? God, I can't believe her. She stood me up. She betrayed me. She don't love me. What's going on? Everyone supposes what everybody does. Then they're going to get angry. You should have responded. I asked you a question. I seen you saw it. Why are you not responding? You were. They're the enemy. Again, these are the paradigms that need to go. Because I will come across so many people. I have one person that waits a whole month to respond because that's just the way they only know how to approach life because their life is so crippling. We don't realize, we think everybody else is happy, healthy, strong, and we're the only one that has shit. This is part of the tribe where we start to realize that, hey, you got the same issue I have. Oh, and then when you start to notice that everybody starts to respond almost differently, it's like, oh, I have to because it's the nice thing to do. Otherwise, I'm considered rude. Oh, wait, are those old manners? There's no respect. It's expectation, demand, and attack. And when you stop reading into it with your fears and your worries, which is what the RTJP does, you will then start to find the rhythm. And if some people are meant to be in your space, they'll just go away. But that's the hard part because we're so entrained to be hurt. They're not talking to me. They ghosted me. Oh my God. It's probably a damn good thing. It's called weeding. But I totally get the feeling. The more you heal, the more you realize you don't have to follow that old flow of that paradigm of territorial or divide and conquer the yin and yang. Oh, thank you, Amber. She goes, Brenda, you're the one of the most beautiful, loving, caring, and giving souls I've ever met. I love you and this tribe so much. I love you too, hon. Okay. So, you know, there's a lot to learn. This is why the Academy wants to teach that. It wants to teach about energy. It wants to talk about, hey, where do you end and they begin? When is it their shit and when is it yours? Those are deep ones. But they're worth knowing because then you're not going to be going into an automatic program. Hold on. I got to write. Let's see what Vicky wrote. I don't do that. I know what it's like to be on call 24/7. The immediate response started with the fax machine and got worse with technology and trained us to do twice as much work. Yeah. And it is very interesting how we with the progression, we don't feel like we have the right to say, oh no, I don't want to go to your party. Why? Don't you like me? And this is why we developed excuses. Oh, my kid is sick. I'm going to be sick that day. A lot of times there's a lot of introvert people out there, and they are like shamed for being introvert. What's wrong with you? Oh, and it's about respect, because if a person is not comfortable or haven't developed skills to be able to do that, other people, why didn't you take my suggestion? Oh my God, there's something wrong with you. I would have taken my own suggestion. That's correct. But it doesn't fit your desired reality or your reality. And so, so we're really learning these different parts of what it means to be a human. And I'm doing my best to help you connect all of these little things, and you have a good day, Cynthia. It was nice to meet you. But yeah, you guys can to really move forward in life. You really can. You really can. So the question is, do I keep doing Thursday? Because I feel like Monday, yes, Tuesday, yes, but is Thursday necessary? I got to teach someday. I got to find a day. Do I give up on teaching my pilot class and just move into you guys can all start over again? I mean, there's we have to make sure that the value of equal value of exchange really happens. Some people are making sure it's always balanced. Some people they can't, and some people their life is just chaotic. So it's it takes a lot to bring it to the table, and it just has to make sure that the ball keeps bouncing back and forth. And it's like, oh, Vicky's like, no, okay, so you two are no. Thank you I'm glad I'm wanted. That's awesome. That makes me feel good, so that I know that I'm doing a purpose. That's good. I'm gonna figure out how to do the next part. So you guys all have to start over again, and you're going to see how much you've grown. That might be end up what happens.
I think that's what's supposed to happen.
Well, yeah, and I feel that, but at the same time,
I'm not allowing that to happen.
Oh, Vicki, we have to have a meeting soon. I may have your picture and your profile or your information, but we're going to have to go over logistics. Which means, do you have a topic? How do you want to talk about it? Are you willing to be open? Just tons of questions. Are you willing to do take calls? Are you willing to witness what so there's all these things we have to figure out, because we want to make sure it's smooth, and yeah, I want to show you some respect, and I want to make sure we have this rapport back and forth, so there's no dead air space, all that good stuff. All these things. So it's so funny, because I want to put stuff up on YouTube, but it's like, what is up with YouTube in Australia? And it's like, what will be the outcome? Part of me feels like, okay, even if I put it up, and then it makes you think about all these other companies out there that you're trusting. So it's like, I think we're rearranging, noticing that we need to be more sustainable within ourselves. And we have to learn how to make that yin and yang work, back and forth, back and forth. We might have to be available today, Vicki. As soon as I'm done. I have not ate any breakfast. I mean, last 2 days, I could care less if food even exists. But by nighttime, good God, I want some food. But I'm just so tired of vegetables. Even though I can make them damn tasty. When you make one bad meal, it can destroy all the rest of them.
You made a bad meal?
I didn't like the texture. And then I made the curry. I don't know what the fuck I did with it. But now it's like, and then the texture of what I did, because I was trying to make the rice, but somehow it's turned into this slop. And I'm thinking, I feel like I'm eating baby food. Because I used to make baby food for my kids. And it's like, I didn't like the texture of it then. And then I burnt my mushrooms.
Oh no.
Well, I had taken a client, I put the stuff in and I had shut everything off. Well, it dried up, and so then it was just like crispy, and I couldn't bite. Oh, my mushies! It's like harder than a chip, It's like there's my dinner, and then I just was like, and then I made my my zucchini. I do not like when zucchini goes soft, and I will not eat eggplant. Just because when it goes soft and mushy, it makes my stomach just curdle. So I won't even eat eggplant because, it's the theory when you vomit and whatever food you have, when it comes up, you won't eat that food. Yeah, and you won't eat that food for a good month. I can't get that out of my head. And it's like, no, I'm not healing it, Vicki, so shut up. I'm not healing that. Why not? I don't know. I'm being stubborn little bitch. I have the right to not want to heal something. See, I'm human. But I wanted to thank everybody too, because you came and supported me when I did my interview. And that was actually, I'm glad I did it just because, boy, when spirit wants to be passionate. So I haven't looked back at it, so I don't know if it was a good interview or a bad interview, but it was it was good? Okay.
It was good. It was very good. I haven't looked back. I haven't watched it back.
Because a part of me is like going, wait. Because I know I got fired up, and some of the questions, did I answer or didn't answer? Because
you answered them. Okay. You answered them the way you answered our questions. You didn't answer the way he wanted you to.
Shit, I don't know if that's good or bad. Because you guys know that in class, I'm not going to hold back. I want to see you grow. And I'm not mean about it. You may take it.
No, you weren't mean about it. You weren't mean about it at all.
Okay. Oh, it was really awesome. Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you, La. Thank you. I'm just trying to look at Diana. She says, I love zucchini. So do I. And it's like every freaking meal I have zucchini. And then she says, I eat the flowers stuffed. Now I'm confused.
The big flowers that they before the zucchini grows, I think is what she's talking about.
And Vicky says, I love the flowers. Well, now I'm going to have to go Google. No phone, do not go Googling. Yeah, okay. But anyway. April says, I watched some of the interview with and loved it. Good. Because like I said, there was a couple times, did I roast? Did I cross the line? Did I do any,
You did not eat it.
Oh, now I'm curious. You may have to point that out so I can see it. I'm still laughing over the chair. Wait, what? What happened to the chair? Don't talk to me about interviews.
When you started, you had your back turned because you were blowing your nose.
I know. All of a sudden, my nose just started dripping. And I'm thinking, who has sinus issues? And I thought, no, we're not starting this. I mean, it was instantaneous, man. Yeah, yeah, I love this. Yeah, it's like introducing Brenda. Hello. I should have done the hair thing, the hair flick. I should have done, but no. Yeah, no, you didn't cross. Oh, thank God.
You did cross the line. He was trying to shut you down.
Oh, that was another feeling. Yes. Okay. See, again, I've got to go back and look at that. Oh.
Yeah, he told, Deborah, I think her name was.
Yeah, Deborah.
Yeah, he was telling her that her husband was a bad entity.
No, he was not. He wasn't. No, the guy standing going, but I love her, even though they didn't really. But that's how they meshed. But he loved her.
But no, that's what Steve said.
I know. Yeah, and that's why I said, I'm thinking, well, what are you going to do? He's right there. I didn't want to freak her out, but at the same time, he's not bad entity. Good Lord, he crossed over. If you didn't cross over, then you'd be earthbound. This gentleman was not earthbound. He was, and see, the thing is that I was talking to Michelle, and she's a great discarnate and whatever. She can talk to the dead too. And we were having a conversation, and part of the conversation is we don't treat them as objects. They are real. They just don't have a body. And when you cross over, they just don't have a body. They're just in a vibrational state that's different. And not everything has to be registered as dark. Now, those that don't cross over, I actually have an interview, I think. I was in the middle of it when the boy wasn't crossed over, and he had no idea that he was dead. And then when he discovered he's dead, do you remember that episode? You know? And the thing is there's old philosophies that can influence you to think differently. All I can tell you is that if they don't cross over, they're supposed to apparently go evil. But that's not really necessarily true. It is your hell on earth of your thoughts with fear and the way that you drum up how you come up with things. That can I drive you to believe fear and let your power go to somebody else, even if you can't see them. That's part of the magic that was twisted and been a bad connotation. This is why when we separated everything, it was yin was considered bad, because when churches took over this particular thing, they created a story that did not need to really be created. Melinda says, I didn't get the sense you were holding back. Definitely passionate. I felt a little irritated energy on occasion. Was perfect. Brenda, bring Brenda. Good.
Yeah,
that's me. I'm being me.
And he was trying to shut you down. He was trying to goad you.
Oh, I really am going to watch this. Okay.
He kept talking over you, and it was like there were times where I was sitting here wanting to just.
Oh, I ain't me. I love you too.
You saw me do that. I know you did.
Oh, I know. Yeah. You sat there, and it was funny because it was like, and yeah, I have to be careful of wristing bitch face. It's like. There's just,
and I'm sitting here, come on, Brenda, smile.
We have to remember, though, this is live and not in class. And it's not that we talk about people. It's about owning the fact that the emotions, feelings, and definitions and how we look at life in a certain way, and what do we do about it. And sometimes, why does our soul project the stuff out? And it's funny because now it makes sense. I think I read it somewhere. Hold on. There was something. Oh, stuff like that is the reason so many budding mediums and psychics have fear. You bring that up. Now, after usually you'll have thoughts afterwards. And when I was in the kitchen, some TV shows will always paint the other person black or dark, evil. Okay. And this bad connotation that's tied with those colors is actually yin, but that's not true. We are told this, that skeptic is right, and that the science is right, and everything else. And so I'm in the kitchen going, oh yeah, I remember when on 2020 they had this da 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 da, and I'm like, oh, see, no, I'm not going to do that. And then I started going and arguing about how and I'm like, but I'm not here to prove anything. I mean, I literally had a conversation, and all of a sudden I realized 20 minutes went by, and my 41 thoughts were about pretty much that. And I didn't know what struck it. Now I get why I was having that conversation in the kitchen. I hadn't, because I thought, where the hell did that come from? Something must have triggered it. Didn't even think about the interview.
Yes, we are all very proud of how you carried yourself, Brenda.
See, thank you. See, I never think of that because this is growth, witnessing, because people in high school would say, oh yeah, I don't know how they would say it, but to me, I felt like I didn't carry myself well, or I would always, my energy would be pulled back, or I would be sad, or I'd lose my voice. I couldn't think. But when you start to heal and you move those energies and you know that you don't have to be tied to these old patterns, you can allow your authentic self just to be present. And when you do this, you don't have to lose your power, your willpower to anybody. You can learn how to stand in your own, and it's not having, let me tell you, I didn't even realize he was doing any of that. That tells you a lot. I don't have to let it affect me.
Mama Bear came out,
Oh, interesting. Yeah, there's a lot we could say. I learned how to be a better interviewer. I wanted to make sure I'm present. That's my biggest takeaway, is that when you're not treated like an it, I don't believe you should be. And when you are busy doing 1,000 things, still having a conversation with somebody, there is a tendency that your energy can be pulled away, and you treat that person like an it. And if you do it too much in a relationship, it can cause things to be out of sync. So, you learn, you learn and you grow. And I pulled out my catalog of life and I said, this is what I want. This is what I don't want. This is how I want to be able to do it. Because the lack of communication of cues, so that's one of the things I wanted to talk to Vicki about, was that when we go to do this reading, if I ask a question, try not to get too long-winded, passionately speak, you pause. That's when I'll know that I can go ahead and ask a question. Because when you're talking over somebody, or nobody, when they love to hear their own voice, or they haven't talked to because I have the syndrome of when I was just kids, and then all of a sudden I was talking to adults, I couldn't shut up. So you have to learn this ebb and flow, especially on a show, because you don't want dead air, and it's okay to pause because you video, but when you're on a podcast, you don't want dead air. I know that I wanted to make sure I introduce people.
Yes.
I don't feel like it was introduced properly. And then the ball was dropped in my court, and I'm thinking, well, where's your questions? I do remember the beginning now. Oh, it's all flooding back. Yeah, I can hold my own. Now that I can look at it that way. But yes, so I want to make sure that it is, yes, it may be I'm branding myself, this may be this, but I'm also sitting there and want people to feel comfortable and loved, and, move in a different direction. There's so many different things I can do with this. If I'm too long-winded, just say, good point. A good point, Alex. I could do
Alex.
Exactly. He was a good example for our learning. Oh, very good. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious about that question, because I would like to know the answer, but we have to, again, behave. Maybe we can talk about this further in the
Tribal.
Yeah. So it's not about we're talking about anybody in the ego sense of it. It's exploring. It's about taking that catalog. It's about learning where have you begin, who do you want to be, what's going on. And so when you're looking at this catalog of life, it's for anything. And you have to remember, you're part of that point of creation and part of destruction. You got to decide how you want to sculpt yourself. And sculpting and skills are the two things that you start to develop, because the natural aspect of you is going to come out. Like Vicky, she's done so much healing that now her natural ability is to be talking to the dead and taking the skills that she's always had and putting it into form.
Mhm.
And now she's like, oh. So when people begin to heal, they can really start to let the authenticity shine. I can't read what Philippa said. Oh, turn the glasses on.
She said she didn't see the interview, but I'm guessing the interviewer was not recipient of the message. That's why you didn't notice what others witnessed.
Well, I was fully aware that he was a friend and that he was considered in his mind, a psychic, a remote viewer, and a really good one. And has a lot of esoteric knowledge, hidden information, full of information. And his questions were good to some degree. See, I see it from a different point of view than they seen it because of the amount of bond that did form. But what I also saw was other things that, do I have to be the friend? Do I have to, take him on board? Do I, did I notice that he was only using me for ratings? But isn't that what interviews are for? But there's so many different ways you can look at this. And, he did throw me with a couple of questions, because I'm thinking, coming from his point of view, why is he asking that question? So that's where you saw something that didn't make any sense to you. Same for me. And then when we started talking about something out of left field, I was like, wait a minute, where are we going? Stay on task. Yes, and that's good. Vicky says, yes, I'm aware that I have more to work on, but my gifts are getting stronger. So yes, and that will just become part of the natural process that you will get. Who is the comedian from Australia who did Annette? Just watched her show, and she did a whole thing with in resting bitch face. Oh. I don't know. Yeah, I know where mine was born at. And I could.
Yeah, I was doing that a lot.
Yeah, I thought, do I put, what can I do? But it's like, yeah. Well, when you get so enthused, or when you get enthused, you don't get the resting bitch face. But when you feel, this is what everybody does, and all of a sudden, when you feel there's like this not a flow, all of a sudden you're just now observing. It's like, huh? It's like when you're sitting in front of the TV set. Yeah, you guys are wonderful. Yes. We'll talk more about it. If you're interested in classes, let me know. We'll start things off. We'll figure out something.
Hannah something.
I'll ask, but I'm not sure. But I can Google too. Okay. You guys are great. Tomorrow is Friday. And then, yeah. Class. Well, if we do this, it would be a Friday at 11 a.m. for all the academy kids, and to do a live. But still, the question then remains: what about those that can't do the lives? Where do I stick it? That means I would have to open up a whole new group, because that old information can't be touched by anybody.
Right.
Because that means you'd have to, so it's a membership to get into the class and the academy. All right. Then I'd have to hear you guys complain. Another group? Oh my God. Oh, good Lord, ladies. You can heal that. Resolve to evolve.
Heal instead of deal.
You can heal that.
Feel it to heal
I
it.
don't know if I should do the finger thing. When in doubt,
Feel it out.
and please stay blessed.
Stay blessed.
Oh, I would say stay blessed, but it's not ending. There it is.